I was almost 8 months pregnant when that happened. And I had this story in my head for so long that if I had a baby, nobody was going to take me seriously as an actor anymore. That it would be like, oh, she's just a mom now. And then in a logistical sense, I was like, how do I have a baby and still be an actor? And
Hey everyone, welcome to today's episode of Talent Agent Talk, where we are bringing you educational lessons and real life stories behind the scenes of TV and film. I'm your host and a talent agent, Jason Lockhart, and today our guest is Lauren Halperin.
hello.
Hey Lauren.
Hello.
It's so fun having someone sitting here who we hang out at my house and
I know.
your house and acting studios and
I know. I was actually getting dressed today and I was like, I wore part of this outfit to your wedding. And that's why I revisited. I was like, this is the Jason outfit.
I was hoping you were going to show up in your Helly R costume from Severance.
I'm thinking can I wear the same costume twice? Like, I love that costume.
The show's a bigger hit now than it was that Halloween, so I think you could get away with it.
When I wore it then, everybody was like, what are you? I think now they'd be like, Helly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you were so good.
Thank you.
Speaking of so good, I know that I feel like you're somebody who is booking like every month or every other month. And it's like you have so many credits. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you here. But also because you're an educator with TWAG and you just care so much about actors that I knew you would have some passionate stories.
Yeah.
I don't know what credit to talk about for you. What's like some great lessons that you've gotten or a great story that you have?
Well, I sat with it for a little bit, and there was one thing that kept coming back to me. I was invited to be a reader at a table read for Insatiable, and I worked with them as a reader for the entire first and second season of the show. So I'd been going there for a long time, and I think something that comes up a lot for actors, whether at a table read or in an audition on set, is like we can come back a lot to what do they want? How much is too big? What's too much? Especially in a table read, you want to know your lane. You want to know your place. You're not trying to walk in and make it about you, but you still want to support the story and the cast and be a part of what's being told. And we can kind of get caught up in how much is too much? What do they want? What am I supposed to do? What is it supposed to sound like? We can fall into that sometimes. And I showed up one day for a table read there, got there 30 minutes early as I usually do, check out the script, see what roles I'm reading that day. And there was one role for this debate moderator with these sort of ridiculous rules for the debate. And I just heard it in my head in a very specific way. She's rattling things off like it's a drug commercial. Side effects may include headache, nausea, all that stuff. And I had that thought cross my mind, like we often do, how much is too much? Should I go for it? Is that appropriate? And then I thought, if I'm honoring what's on the page and I'm bringing my authentic self to what I think this is, let me go for it. Let me have fun. So started the read, that moment came up, and I just went for it. I mean, I really played it how I imagined it. It was so alive to me when it came off the page. I just felt like I can bring this to life, and I did it. And the response in the room, and usually in a table read, there's not much of a moment after it. And as soon as I got through that sort of 2-page bit, the response, it felt like the room came alive. And I wasn't doing it for a reaction, but I could feel it. And I thought, that's great. Whatever that was wonderful. And I got in the car, and within a few minutes, I got a phone call saying, I don't know what you just did in that room, but they want to book you. Can you put yourself on tape and get it so you can be approved by Netflix? And I just had this moment where I thought, we don't have to wait to be told what's correct, or we don't have to worry so much about if it's right, what they want, how it's supposed to sound. It's again, if you're honoring what is on the page, you're staying true to the work, and you are bringing your authentic point of view to it, we have permission to be a collaborator, not just with the production, but with the creative process, with creativity. And so that was really a beautiful takeaway for me from that.
I can also just see it in your energy, how much fun you had playing that role.
Yes.
And I mean, obviously that show was fun to watch and had a fun energy, very colorful.
Yeah.
But you having fun doing it, you also let yourself be creative and have a good time.
Yes.
And that probably the reason why there was an energy in that room, my gut is saying, because they all had fun watching you have fun.
Maybe. And I felt that.
You
And
know?
I understood her, like, as ridiculous as these sort of like rules were that she was coming up with. It meant something, like, it meant something, and it was real. And it was like, this is what we're doing. And so I did have so much fun settling into that.
Wow.
And then another thing that came out of it that has been so important to me, and a lesson that I continually have to come back and remind myself of. I was almost 8 months pregnant when that happened. And I had this story in my head for so long that if I had a baby, nobody was going to take me seriously as an actor anymore. That it would be like, oh, she's just a mom now. And then in a logistical sense, I was like, how do I have a baby and still be an actor? And so much fear. I had so much fear around that. And I remember arriving to set that day, like super pregnant, and going up to the showrunner and the director, who are both wonderful, Lauren Gussis and Brian Danley, individually saying to them, thank you so much for hiring this super pregnant woman and all this stuff. And both of them were like, yeah, of course. Like, we think it's great. We support. And you remember right after Alex was born, I'd be on set and people were making accommodations to make sure I could like go pump in my trailer, and gave me a trailer with a refrigerator so I could start, like, all of these things that I continually kept coming back to, these fears. I think around that specifically, I think a lot of women have that, this feeling of, I won't necessarily be taken seriously as an actor anymore because people think I just care about that, or people won't want to give me a job if fill in the blank. Is like, again, so many of the sort of restrictions or parameters that we put on things out of fear don't have to exist when we create space for it.
All right, listen up. Our Booked It Challenge is so close. Oh my goodness. Our Booked It Challenge is one of my favorite challenges that we do each year. And I'll tell you, when I first created this challenge, I was a little bit nervous because I was like, oh my gosh, how are we going to create something where like people actually have to book jobs? Like, that's not something in our control. But I took a leap of faith. I created the challenge. I called it the Booked It Challenge. And wouldn't you know, every single year, people book jobs. It's crazy. So this year, it could be you. This challenge is very simple. We're together for 4 weeks. We bring in an industry pro all 4 weeks, and we work on auditions. I make it so simple, so easy. One, I give you some audition techniques to help you book the job once you have the audition. And the second is I give you some techniques to get more auditions. One of the things I've realized in being an actor over the last 20 years is that if you get more opportunities, you have more chances to book the job. So we need to increase our chances, and then the chances that we do get, we need to increase the quality of our auditions. So we're going to teach you exactly how to do all of those things. So sign up for our Booked It Challenge. It's only $37, and there's a $5 off promo in the description. So the link is there. The promo is there. Head there right now and come join us for our incredible Booked It Challenge.
And I think that goes above and beyond pregnant women. I mean, that is people that are like, I'm too heavy.
Yes.
I'm too short.
Yes.
You know, I'm
And-
too old.
And with the heavy thing, it's like that was not that's tied in, because you get pregnant and go, oh my gosh, I just had a baby. Okay, I'm no longer at the weight that I want to be. I'm not all these things. And like, I still worked.
There are roles for everyone of every shape, size, age, color. There really are.
And it's so beautiful, as there should be, you know? So,
And I've seen actors like you change minds, you know? So they might want someone who is too skinny, and then they cast someone who's not skinny because that person had this really cool, unique take, and they were
Yes.
their authentic self, and they just told the story and they booked,
yeah.
you know?
I think we just create boundaries sometimes for ourselves out of fear. Whether it's going back to what we were talking about earlier with how is something supposed to sound in an audition, to if I make this lifestyle choice, or all of these different things that we think could have a negative impact. And so we make choices based on fear. And I'm just continually learning to make choices based on being open to receiving wonderful things, and that we can, two things can be true.
Well, and they come all the time.
Yeah.
one of my favorite stories about you is the BMF booking. You know, you had booked,
Yeah.
you know, BMF, Denise, and you had that hideous wig, and thank God they changed it.
The redemption for going back and
Yeah.
next season with just that hair grown out. Oh.
But what I love is that you had booked that and the role kept growing. And then we asked for guest star. Remember that? This is a great
Yes.
story because I feel like a lot of actors are like, how do I get my first guest star? There's no specific path. There's no
Right.
one way, you know, but you had 24 co-stars.
Yeah.
Full budget co-stars. And I remember asking George Pierre,
Yeah.
shout out George, how do we get her a guest star for this? The role's huge now. And he asked, and they came back and just said no pretty quickly. And he was like, there's no precedence. And I said, what's precedence? Guest star already on the resume? And he was like, basically. And I said, well, how about this? And printed out your resume and sent it over. It was like 24 co-stars. At what point does someone say, she's earned it?
Right.
And the role could be a guest star based
Sure.
on the size and the episode.
Yeah.
Boom, guest star approved.
Yeah.
And then came back again. You know?
And thank you for fighting for that. And I'm also a firm believer, you know, yes, I just think I always just think anything can happen. It can be obviously with somebody great like you, you know, no, for real, because it takes that. And also anything could happen. You can have a few co-stars and book a guest star. You could have a few co-stars and be, you know, series regular, or it could take sort of the path
That path.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
either way, there's more than one way to get there, you know?
I agreed.
Yeah.
But you never lost sight of that.
Yes.
You weren't like, this is my 19th co-star. I'm done doing them.
No, I want to do interesting, exciting work. And again, I think there's more than one way to get there. I think it's all part of the creative process. And if something feels exciting and interesting, I always feel quality over quantity. It's not necessarily the number of scenes in an episode, or it can be. But I had one scene opposite Samuel L. Jackson, which was like a beautiful moment. And I love that scene because it was just simple. It was just the two of us talking. We were looking at a piece of art, and it just felt relaxed. And it's just a moment that I love. And so to me, that doesn't matter that was a co-star. I'm not gauging the success of that on what the title of it was. It's what the experience was as well.
Did you learn anything working with him?
I obviously, you know, he's been doing this for so long, so he brings a level of relaxation, but I'm constantly inspired by people who just genuinely show up as their full relaxed selves in creative experiences, because again, of all the things that we can be, you know, and he was playing a difficult role. He's playing the role of a man with dementia, and his fluidness from, you know, between, you know, cut and action, again, it was just an ease to him, which was really lovely to see.
I love that. With your body of work, I mean, you've just had so many partners, you know, and we're taught from preschool, find a partner, you know,
Yeah.
find a partner, work with somebody.
Yeah.
And as an actor, you don't even really have control unless you're producing the project too. You don't have control who your partner's going to be.
Sure.
So you're going to learn
Yeah.
from, you know, some are going to be great and some aren't. You know, are they going
Yeah.
to serve you? Are they not? You only have control over what you're going to show up and bring. But hopefully you're always, you're always a good partner for them.
Oh,
you
thank
know?
you. It's fun.
Yeah,
It's fun. I
bet.
love it.
So let me ask you if
Yes.
you had because I know we had a really good conversation like 2 weeks ago
Yeah.
about just you being the lead, you know, like
Mm.
booking big stuff, and I want that for you too. It's like, how do we get there?
Yeah.
We're just gonna keep trying
That's
everything
right.
we
Just
can
keep
think
going.
of. But I'm curious, do you have a dream role? Like, what would be your dream role, Lauren?
I think it always comes back to comedy for me. I feel like it's part of my DNA. It's just it's what makes me want to, whether I'm watching a comedy, laughing, or being a part of it. I remember being really young and watching how things could feel at moments like tense at home, whatever life things were happening. And then we'd put something on, and like Robin Williams or Eddie Murphy or, you know, any number of like comedians would like brighten up the house. Like my parents would just feel like the laughter and the joy. And I just have always felt like I want to do that. I want to be a piece of creating that joy and that experience for other people. So for me, it's comedy. It's just being a part of like a really, and I love all kinds of comedy, whether it's sort of like mindful, socially relevant comedy, I think is always really fun. And then just fun slapstick, like just here for a good time. I really love all of it. So I'm here for some comedy.
Hell yeah. Let's find you some more.
Hell
right?
yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And,
Thank you.
you know, if you've seen any episodes, you win a free car for being here. So I'm going to have you reach into this this bag that Sarah
Okay.
Carpenter gave me way back in the day.
Okay.
Don't look, but let's see what...
If it's a car, I might have to give it to Alex.
Yeah, he'll appreciate it even more than Levi.
Yeah. Right now, yes. We'll see.
What'd you get?
Ooh, I got a custom Cadillac Fleetwood.
That's a pretty classic
That's
car.
kind of classic.
And I'm going to throw you one more loop here.
Okay.
You're actually the first guest to ever get 2 gifts.
What?
Because my wife, Amanda, also has a little something for you that I brought.
Stop it.
Amanda, if you're watching.
Amanda.
Lauren here is a big Bachelor fan, just like we are in our household. That's for you.
I never thought I would be asked if I accept this rose.
Will you
And I
accept
never
this
know
rose?
how much I needed this until right now. Yes, of course. I would be honored to.
Thank you.
And it's chocolate.
And that means we'll see you next week, I guess.
That's right. I'll be back. I'm taking everyone in this house down. Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
This is beautiful.
It's great to have you here. And shout out to the Working Actor Group. You know, if
Thank
you're an
you,
actor,
yes.
you know, obviously major thank you to Get Seen and Jesse Malowski for producing
Yes,
our show. And
of course.
Lauren's school is wonderful as well.
Awesome. I appreciate that.
I think it's important to study and train at all times, all over the place, until you're really, until you as an actor really seeing a good ROI on your investment of classes. It's
Yeah.
great to just be studying everywhere.
Yeah. And we really try to speak into, I mean, it's just sort of embedded in who we are, is to all of these ideas of like possibility and bringing yourself and all of that. It's like we just want to create like a really supportive environment for people to feel like they can grow and have community. And so, yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, too. Thank you to our audience for tuning in. And if you would like to be a guest on our show because you got your own exciting booking story with a lesson, you can pitch it right to us. It's talentagenttalk@gmail.com. Again, that is talentagenttalk@gmail.com. Thank you so much, Lauren.
Thank you.